Hi, I'm going to show you now how to make the LCHF chicken Kievs from the new low carb book. It's also in the Skinny Mixes collection on Cookie Do. So I've brought it up here on the TM6 screen. I'm just going to press start cooking. So, sorry, I had my lid on. So the scales automatically come up when you need them. It's asking me to put in 100 grams of almonds. So you just, as you're pouring it in, you just watch on the screen to make sure you're getting the right amount. No need to use measure cups, which is very handy. It's telling me to put the lid on. And now the time is already set. Whenever you're doing guided cooking, the time and temperature are always set for what you need it to be. So all you need to do is turn the dial. So 5 seconds to mill those almonds. So now it is telling me to add in a bunch of spices, which I've already measured out here. Oh, what have I got? I have got oregano, onion flakes, sweet paprika, salt, and a pinch of pepper. So that all goes in at once. There's some stuck in the bowl. I don't want to waste any of that goodness. Great flavour that's going to be. It tells me to put the lid on. And now this time it's on reverse because we don't want to turn the almonds into almond butter. We just want to stir the almond meal around with those spices. So just a low speed on reverse. And it's done. So it's asking me to transfer that into a bowl, which we will use later to coat our chicken in. So as you can see, the 5 seconds of milling those almonds has turned that into a really nice almond meal, and then we've added the spices. So being able to process your own ingredients, your own raw ingredients in a Thermomix is one of the things I love about it. It saves you money, but also means that your ingredients are always fresh, healthier, no additives, preservatives added in. Yeah, so it's a great thing to do. So I mill spices, nuts, seeds, grains, sugar, all sorts of things. So that's something you can do in your Thermomix that only takes a few seconds. We'll carry on with the recipe. It says do not rinse the bowl. Love that. Okay, I do just want to bring it a little bit closer to the screen for a little while so you can see exactly what it's asking us to do. So it's telling us to put in the cheese. I've already just cut it in small blocks. Anytime you're cutting something that's very hard, like I would say Parmesan cheese is in that hard category, just cut it a bit small so that you're not putting too much pressure on your blades over time. So as you can see, this, as I poured it in, the scales just went up, and you just press this next button and you do what it says on the screen. So I've put my lid on. And now it's telling me to turn up to speed 9. There's also an indicator here. If I can't be bothered reading, which is half the time, there's an indicator there, so I don't even need to do that. I just go, and it goes. Great. So it's telling me to transfer that into a bowl to set aside. I'll just show you how you can use the lid of your Thermomix as a handy funnel if you're putting the contents of the bowl into a smaller dish or a jar after you've made jam or stock. This is something you can do. Your lid's already dirty, so you might as well use that. And as you can see, the 10 seconds of grating that Parmesan cheese did a great job. Sorry for that pun. I don't like puns, but there you had one. Did a very good job of grating the Parmesan cheese. And then using the lid as a funnel has meant I've made no mess on my bench. I am a messy cook, so I don't really worry too much, but I wanted to show you that little tip. So there's our Parmesan cheese. I'm just setting that aside for later. I better put my lid back on. My bowl. Okay, so now it's asking me to add the butter, which I need to get out of the fridge because it says to add cold butter. so I've kept it in the fridge. Ta-da! Okay. And I'm just looking at the screen. I have pre-weighed this though, so like I knew it would be right. Some garlic cloves. I'm adding in 2 garlic cloves. And now we're adding in our herbs. So the recipe asks for basil. So I've got a heap of basil, parsley, and if you can find tiny little bits of thyme as well. So I'm putting all of that in. Our yummy flavors that is going to make. Put the lid on. And it wants me to do that on speed 5 for 40 seconds. So while that's going, you can do a little dance. Okay, it wants me to transfer that into a bowl and set aside. So I'll put it back into the same bowl I had my herbs in. But you can see that beautiful herb butter you've got there. You can also make your own butter in the Thermomix. There's a great recipe just in the basic cookbook. And it's just cream. It uses cream and it whips the cream and then churns it into butter. And you also get buttermilk as a byproduct. So if you haven't tried that, give it a go. There's also a really great bread. It's not low carb, so I shouldn't be mentioning it tonight. But there's a really great bread called the herb and garlic pull-apart. And the first step of that is making your own herb and garlic butter from scratch. So using the cream. So today I've made herb and garlic butter using store-bought butter, but 2 different ways of doing it. So I'll set that aside. Do not rinse mixing bowl. Love that. Okay, it wants me to place in the chicken. The scales have come up, so we'll see how good the butcher was at weighing it out for me. I'm just going to use it all anyway. Yeah, that's fine. Extra doesn't matter. Oh, and I should have shown you, when you're mincing chicken or any meat really, you should have it pre-cubed. So just like 3 centimeter-ish. Yeah. Usually when I'm mincing, I do use half frozen meat. So if I know I'm going to be mincing meat, I'll, put it in the freezer about half an hour ahead of time so that it's, so that when the blades are chopping it, it's not turning it into a paste. It's more like a mince. It does a really good job of mincing meat. But this recipe doesn't ask to do that. So this is the Kiev. It's different to normal mince, I guess. Adding in an egg. Yes, so definitely different. That can go in. A teaspoon of salt. Now I've milled my own cooking salt. So that, again, there's no additives in it. I just buy Himalayan rock salt and then just mill it in the Thermomix. It's about 10 seconds to mill. So that can go in. That wasn't a full teaspoon. I'm going to put a bit more in. There we go. And add the Parmesan cheese, which we've got reserved from earlier. And 20 grams of the crumb. So we are going to be using this crumb to coat the Kievs. So make sure you only use 20 grams of this. I might use my tablespoon to make sure I don't use too much. Good, good, good. Great. Okay, tells you to put the lid on. And 40 seconds on speed 9. So I'll pause the video so you don't have to watch 40 more seconds of just the machine going around. Nothing too exciting happening. Okay, so that's done. It's telling me to preheat the oven, so I'll do that. Could have looked ahead. Yep, I'll get that. Now, let's have a look at this mixture. Oh, that looks good. So we've got our Kiev mixture there. It's telling me to divide the chicken mixture into 6 portions, approximately 100 grams each. So if you wanted to, you could weigh that out if you wanted to be really fastidious about it. To do that, you can, if you have the Thermomix bowl on top, you can just take off the measure cup and put a bowl at the top and turn the scales on. But because my mixture is in here, I'm going to do a different way of just putting the bowl here. If ever you're doing this, this is probably not something that people generally encourage. Just be careful that you're not getting any food around that area, obviously. So that's fine. Scales on. And I want to find out about 100 grams. And then I'll just match each Kiev to that. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so I am just going to sort of mound it into a ball and then flatten it. It said about 1 centimeter thick, so that looks pretty good to me. Too much. And it is approximate, so I'm not going to stress too much about having them exact. It won't matter to my family, but if you want to have them look perfect, go ahead and do that. Some people, when they're making bread rolls or hot cross buns or something like that, they weigh out their dough portions as well if you want it to be a really perfect amount. I don't often bother, but it's just a little tip to know that you can do that if you want them to be perfect. So weighing them out. The mixture, I know a lot of people don't like playing with raw meat. This mixture doesn't feel bad to play with. I guess by the time it's got all the cheese, the crumb, the egg in it, this doesn't feel bad to play with at all. Because I am often a little bit, I'm okay, but this is, as far as touching raw meat goes, this is pretty good. This doesn't feel too gross. And I am putting my hand in the bowl, just a safety measure. Obviously, please watch the blades as you do that. I'm being very careful, and for the last bit, now that I'm down to where the blades are, I'll use my spatula to help me get it out, because safety first. Okay, these are looking good. I'm just going to use the spatula to help me get that out. I'm going to run out of room on my plate. Oh, you can't really see what I'm doing. I'm just putting them on the plate here. Okay. And last one. You could also do mini ones. If you didn't want to have 6 big Kievs, you could do mini ones. You also could use this mixture instead of making Kievs. You could just use this same mixture to make chicken nuggets or something like that, without the filling on the inside. So they're not actually, just out of interest's sake. Yeah, so 2 of them were bigger than the others because I had extra. I did have extra chicken, and that's fine. So not a problem. Okay. Okay. I am going to wash my hands because we're chicken. Sorry, and I couldn't pause the video because of my hands. Okay, so now out of the scales, and I'm back to where I was on the screen. Good, and now it's telling me to, yep, I've already done that. Flatten them. Okay, place approximately 1 tablespoon of the herb butter into the center of each mixture. And form the chicken mixture around the butter to enclose them completely. So I kind of, you don't need to see my face, it's more better you see me. So I'm just putting in about a tablespoon, and then I'll see what I have left over. Although leftover herb and garlic butter would not be a problem. I'm sure I can use it for something. Even just on a steak, at the very end when you pull the steak off the barbecue, just putting on some herb and garlic butter is so good. It just melts into it. Okay. Cool. So I am going to sort of, what does it say? Form the chicken mixture around the butter to enclose it completely. Ensure there are no thin spots or holes. So I can do that. It's very easy to work with. It seems like this would be fiddly, but hopefully now after you're seeing me do this, you'll be able to realize how easy that is to do. And then even the creases at the bottom smooth out very well. And I'm going to be crumbing it anyway, so that's really great. So I'm just kind of folding all the sides up. Like that. So this is obviously a lot of the dishes in the Thermomix are set and forget ones where you put on the dish and walk away and let it cook your dinner for you. This one is more of a hands-on recipe that is good to do on a day where you do have time to do that. It's obviously not an everyday thing to be spending too much time in the kitchen, or for me anyway. Actually, that's an assumption. Some of you probably love to spend more time in the kitchen. I save these types of dishes for the days where I do have that time. And then on the other days, we have our favorite go-tos that are really quick. But my family are going to love this. It's going to be very exciting. Okay, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm not a pro, just normal. I think I've only ever done this once before, so definitely not a pro, but you can see how even someone who's not a fabulous chef can follow this recipe and just do it and make it look pretty good, I think, if I do say so myself. But to have homemade Kievs, it's very satisfying. You know, you've made the filling, you've made the crumb, everything's from scratch, and then you know what's in it. Additive free, preservative free, just really great homemade goodness. Okay, roll the chicken Kievs in the reserved coating and set aside. So I've got my coating here. I am just going to do exactly what it says. And that looks great. And it asks us to do that twice. To double coat. We'll see if there's enough crumb. How cool. This is very easy to work with. It's not sticky at all. It's just really great, actually. Great recipe developed by Skinny Mixer. And the step-by-step recipe on Cookie Dough makes it easy for people like me to be able to do it. All right. So this collection, this low-carb collection actually only just came on Cookie Dough today. Oh no, last night. It went on last night. The book went on sale today. If you want the hard copy cover of the book, it's on sale today. Okay, now it's telling me to do that again. Once all chicken portions have had one coat, do it again because we've got some more to come. So just roughly, like, don't stress over it too much. Here's where you could get the kids involved as well. If you have kids in the family who like to get their hands messy, they could be doing this while you're doing other things. I find the meal planner on Cookie Dough really good for that because I can put something in the meal planner and just tell one of my older girls, go make dinner, and they pull up what I've planned for the day and they know that the ingredients will be there because that's what I've planned. So yeah. Okay, that looks good. Okay, I am going to pause the video to wash my hands and just using my knuckle and get the fry pan ready. Oh. Okay, my pan has been heating. It said to go on medium-high heat for 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm just going to put the Kievs in. I can hear the sizzle, so that means the pan's hot enough. It says 2 to 3 minutes, just turning regularly so that you get it brown on all sides. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. It says to use any oil. I'm using organic coconut oil that's been cold pressed. That's my oil of choice for frying. Olive oil is also quite good. Just something that has a high heat point, so it's a bit healthier for your food. And so I will pause there because this is literally just frying, nothing too exciting to see here. Okay, these are looking good. They're looking quite, I mean, the recipe said not to be careful not to overcook. I think they look brown enough. I think they look quite good. So I am going to put them on my baking pan. And it says to bake in the oven for 10 minutes on 180. So I will put them in the oven. Okay, so the Kievs cooked in the oven for 10 minutes and then I've let them rest for 5 minutes as per the recipe. So moment of truth, cutting them open to see what it looks like on the inside and make sure the chicken's cooked. Obviously you want to do that before you serve it to your family. I'm just going to cut it straight in half so you can see what oozes out when I do that. Oh, can you see? Oh, splatter. Oh, that's perfect. Did you see that happen? Yeah, that's awesome. And I can tell the chicken's cooked. So that's really great. I'm just making sure. Yeah, so perfect. LCHF chicken Kievs, and it really hasn't taken up that much of my time. Just the hand rolling basically is what was a lot of the time. So enjoy. Hopefully now you've seen how easy that is. You'll be able to be confident enough to give that a go in your own home. Thanks.